Mrs. Walker, would you lead us in the flag salute? Sunshine Law Statement. All requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been met for this meeting of the Board of Education of the Borough of Oradell. Notice of this meeting was filed with the Record and Town News and all persons requesting such notice. Mrs. Norian, would you read the mission statement?
The Oradell Public School District is dedicated to the ongoing pursuit of educational excellence through comprehensive, innovative curriculum and instruction. The district is committed to providing opportunities for social, emotional, and academic discovery to foster curiosity, courage, and character. Our goal is to prepare our students to become lifelong learners who are self-directed, resilient, productive, responsible citizens.
Thank you. Roll call.
On the roll, Mr. Del Greco.
Here.
Mr. Darian will not be here. Mrs. Downey.
Here.
Mrs. Moran.
Here.
Mr. Nutlin.
Here.
Mrs. Walker.
Here.
Mr. Walsh. Mrs. Norian.
Here.
Mrs. Nichols.
Here. At this time, we'll open to the public for agenda items only. Can you just turn the mic on, Ro? Thank you.
Hi, Rosemary Cataldo, President of the OEA. As this is Teachers Appreciation Week, as we celebrate it, we would like to take a moment during this meeting to recognize and celebrate a very special group of educators, those who are being recommended for tenure at Oradell Public School. We hope that this recognition becomes the beginning of a meaningful new tradition at OPS. These dedicated teachers joined our school community during a time when many educators were hesitant to enter classrooms, a time marked by uncertainty and fear. Despite the challenges, they chose to show up, to teach, and to support our students when it was needed most. Their unwavering commitment to excellence and to the well-being of every child at OPS has been and continues to be truly unparalleled. We are grateful for their service, their passion, and their positive impact on our school community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I just wanted to speak about some of those of our colleagues that we were talking about and exemplify some of the things that we have experienced working with them. So Kristen Collins came to us from Virginia, bravely stepping into big shoes, and she's more than filled them. With heart and passion and vision, she's grown the program into something truly special and uniquely her own. Maria Constantinu, who I work closely and personally with in third grade and has become a good friend as well. She came to us with experience teaching art and third grade, and she's brought boundless curiosity and joy into her classroom. She creates a space where students and teachers learn together, making every day a celebration of growth and creativity. Michelle Haas, who came to us from Ridgewood and began her journey at OPS teaching on Zoom while her students were in the classroom, a true test of creativity and resilience. Since then, she's continued to find inventive and meaningful ways to reach and inspire every learner that she meets. Alexandria Pallotta has truly done it all here in OPS. Once a student, then a sub, and then an aide and a leave replacement, always leading with her heart and a deep love for her alma mater. Her journey is a testament to her dedication, and we're so proud to see her thrive as a full-time educator in the very halls that shaped her. Erin Riesebeater has brought her nationwide teaching experience to OPS, enriching our school with energy, talent, and an incredible love of music. From leading the unforgettable first grade musical that some of you had the pleasure of being in the audience to watch today, to getting sixth graders dancing and third graders playing recorders, Mrs. Riesebeater has truly transformed the sound and spirit of OPS. Tara Schlesinger brings a lifelong passion for art and a rich journey that's taken her from Japan to New York to our own suburban classrooms. From kindergarten clay creations to next year's PTA-funded pottery wheels, she's built a vibrant, hands-on program where students never stop creating. And thanks to her, our hallways are filled with their beautiful artwork, celebrating creativity and at every turn. And Kate Windrum started as an aide here at OPS. She learned the ropes and embraced the opportunity to grow in her second career. Her journey then took her to Hoboken and back to OPS to make an even bigger impact. Now, as a teacher of 4th and 5th graders, Kate continues to inspire and challenge her students, instilling a love of reading and writing in each one. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Pisa. Anyone else? Okay, not seeing any, we'll move forward. We will move to the superintendent's report.
Good evening. Today was an exciting day at OPS as our staff was treated to a breakfast in recognition of Teacher Appreciation Week, sponsored by this Board of Education. From then, the day continued as our 5th and 6th graders continued with NJSLA testing. Right from there, our 1st graders marched down the hallway presenting their musical performance entitled Nuts, which taught about the circle of life. Today's performance was a joint effort between our 1st grade teachers and Mrs. Reese-Beater. We'll see an additional collaborative performance for our kindergartners later in the year. Music is about to take over OPS even more as our 5th and 6th graders will perform SpongeBob Jr. May 15th, 16th, and 17th. If you are a board member and would like a seat reserved for you, please let Mr. Butcher or me know. Art will also be in the air on May 20th when we invite you to our annual art show in the NPR, and I will send you a reminder prior to that. Moving to outside of the building, I'm going to take a little bit of Mr. Iapelli's thunder tonight. You will notice we have some new seeds sprouting, and Mr. Werner gives me a daily update because I got a little confused and thought the old grass was the new seed, and he had to explain to me that new seed doesn't sprout overnight. We also have been in constant contact with our landscaper about the progress because we want to make sure that our sprinklers and the rain are working collaboratively. The rain of the past 2 days has also shown that our patchwork on the basketball court is working, and we will move forward with sealing the court at the end of the month. As a final reminder, our next board meeting is a big one, as we will recognize retiring staff members for achieving OPS anniversaries, including one staff member who will recognize her 30 years and also her retirement to OPS. And we will also recognize our Educator of the Year. Our newsletter will go out next week. The board will get a copy of it on Friday. I'll ask for any revisions by Monday, as it will go to the press on Monday. That newsletter will announce to the community and invite them to celebrate our staff along with us. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Iapelli.
At this time, I'd like to present the 2025-26 budget, but I'm going to do it from standing up this year as opposed to last year. So I did it sitting down last year, and I felt uncomfortable. So now I got there's an actual audience this year. So now I have my back to most of you. I apologize. So we start off here with, it's sort of a combination of myself and Ms. Bozius on that.
As you know, I don't talk about the numbers, I talk about the story behind the numbers. So I always like to start by sharing, and our newsletter will do the same thing, what our budget helped us accomplish during the 2024-25 school year, or what I like to call our points of pride. So we continue to maintain a cycle of new Chromebooks for every 1st grader and 4th grader every year. As you know, we've revised our math and language arts curriculum in grades K through 6, and also implemented a new resource in grades 4 through 5 in the professional development to help that resource be implemented in the classroom. In terms of our operational improvements, we upgraded our door sensors to link with our cameras, so now there is an alert system that if a door is kept open for too long, based on how that specific door has been set up, it will send an email to the main office, and that email will include a video of what made that door stay open too long. We've added 8 additional cameras. We integrated a new guest management system, And I promise you, Mr. Nutlin, we are still working on a new stand for that system. And we've installed a new server. With regards to buildings and grounds, we renovated 3 staircases, we replaced 20 exhaust fans, 3 sections of roofing, and began what I'm calling my new passion project, a multi-year grass maintenance project, because as Jim Albro will tell you if you speak to the superintendent of Riverdale, I'm very envious of their grass. So we also repainted all our student bathrooms, replaced the mirrors, and updated the lighting in them. And as much as all of that is important, making sure that we're doing things to ensure that our learners are engaged in the classroom, we purchased additional robotics materials and 3D printers. We installed 6 new BenQ interactive learning panels, and I can confidently say they are being used every single day. And we integrated a 6th grade advisory period based on some feedback we received from parents that as we moved to a departmentalized model in 6th grade, they were losing that attachment to a teacher, that homeroom. So we built that in as well and arranged for some professional development from Coach Stroker to support that, and some funding to write curriculum for it as well.
So at this point, I'd just like to get a quick overview of what the budget process is. We assess the district's needs, always trying to meet the needs of the students. It's a year-long process. I always say when one budget season sort of ends, the new school year starts, and you're already starting to think about the next budget. So it's a continuous process. But we do have steps where you meet with the finance committee, you wait until the state gives you aid notice, and then you may have money, you may not get money. That's always a kind of precarious time. You don't know which way it's going to go. And then you wait and submit budgets, and you wait for approvals before you could get started on what am I going to present. And so here's where we're at right now with the final budget presentation and the hearing.
And one thing I'm just going to add to Mr. Iapelli, you may have read in the news last year that there was a cap put on losing state funding by 3%. We were one of those districts that benefited from that. We were scheduled to lose more than 3% of our state funding.
So it's the school funding formula. It's, as soon as they passed it, most people thought it was already out of date. It's complex. It's difficult to explain sometimes because of the 2 major impacts and factors are property values and income of district's residents. That really has a large impact on the budget and what your aid can be. And which makes it even more difficult to explain and try to figure out is that the state has these multipliers that they use with regards to those and how much that's going to apply to each district. But the state, that's not a constant. The state decides the multipliers. So that could change year to year. So if you look at what Oradell has thought that they could support, we're not going to get really any more than what we're given now, because property values have increased dramatically. In the last assessment, they're up over 22%. The incomes in the community have risen. So that is going to impact our aid. And we lost 3% this year, could have lost more. So it's tough because you don't know with those multipliers. I don't know how they do it. They don't say how they do it. But you do know that that's becoming a bigger and bigger factor. You do have your enrollment adjustments, and we don't have any low income that qualify. So we're in a tough place because the state is now, it's more before, but it's really just pushed everything on to the taxpayers. And so here's the enrollment. This is based on our ASSA. It's our application for state school aid. The state, you do the application, but they don't necessarily use it other than get your numbers of students. So we were at, this past October, 823 resident students. That includes students within the building of OPS and our special ed students we send outside. So if you use what the state says, there is a baseline of $13,946 for elementary school students. That's what they start at. That's what they would say, this is what OPS would get if we went with what the state said is their base number. So that would be over $11 million. In reality, we get about $1,224 a student, and it's $1.7 million, and that's down from last year. And that aid is really not even derived from the formula per se, because the formula has what they call equalization aid. It's the difference between what they believe the district can afford and where's your budget, based on the number of students. What they believe Oradell could afford is significantly more than our budget. So our real aid is what they call categorical aid. It's that we have special ed students, they give you X amount of dollars for special ed. You have transportation of special ed students, you get some X amount of dollars for special ed. They have security aid, they give X amount of dollars per student. That's just a flat rate for everyone. They don't use any of the funding formula for that. So that's where we're really impacted, is that ours will always be in this sort of $1 million area because of how the formula is developed and used. So right off the bat, you see the tax levy, top line, $14,233,670, nearly 88% of the budget. Take in miscellaneous revenue that the district will generate, and nearly 88% of our budget is from the community, from Oradell. We do have our state aid. We do receive some extraordinary aid, but that number is never guaranteed. It's always subject to the state budget having money to fund extraordinary aid. You could submit extraordinary aid based on your special needs students. That's $500,000, but you are only going to get a fraction of that because the state pool of money pretty much stays the same. Cost keeps rising, so the pie keeps getting, our slice keeps getting smaller. From our audit, the board decided to use $200,000 to offset taxes. If that was not included, that would be even $200,000 more for the levy. For our capital projects, those will all be funded from prior year reserves. That's $500,000. And to do routine maintenance, we will use $150,000. So we do, where we can, use shared services to help reduce costs. We do it. Region 5 is a big help because they coordinate our transportation of out-of-district placements for special ed, nursing and the related services, the behaviorists, the nurses, the on-bus nurses. Those costs are significant, and there's lots of moving parts to what Region 5 does, and they're a major help in helping us coordinate and also help us save, because they can pool students on a bus route as opposed to if we were just busing, we might just have one student on that bus. Bergen County Technical Schools, we have Rami here. He's on site with us, but they also supply a lot of other support in our infrastructure and backbone of our admin technology. We use Ed Data for our school supplies. Teachers, they know Ed Data. They submitted their orders. And again, it's a consortium of many districts, so you save on your school supplies. Same thing with our electric and gas, our utilities. The commodity piece is through ACES. There's over 400 entities in ACES throughout the state. Again, pooling to try to reduce costs. We still have PSE&G costs because PSE&G is responsible for getting everything into the building. All we're doing is buying the generation, wherever that commodity is, that goes through their lines and through their pipes. Ed Service Commission, Bergen County bids. We use state contracts where appropriate. And our insurance, we are part of NESBIG. There are 42 districts, and this is not our health, but this is our property, liability, equipment, auto, environmental, professional liability, workers' comp. So that, once again, is, we get better pricing with 40 other districts as opposed to a standalone. So what's the budget? You know, what are the percentages? What are the appropriations? Special ed is still the top line, over $4,470,000. That includes students within the building and students outside the building. That includes transporting those students. That includes their aides, their nurses, their RBTs. Those are the registered behavior technicians and behaviorists that are in the building and outside the building. General education, as it says, that's everything other than special education within OPS. Employee benefits, it's not just health benefits, that's workers' compensation, that's pension payments for non-certificated staff, that's Social Security for non-certificated staff. The FICA portion for non-certificated staff is paid by the board. The certificated staff portion, you get reimbursed by the state of New Jersey. Operation, maintenance, and facility. District admin, that's actually three different components of our district. That would be the superintendent and the board office and the BOE, plus the business office, plus the admin piece of the technology. And as we just move down, we have basic skills, improvement of instruction, and so it gets, as you see, smaller. So that's where the money's being spent. That $528,360, $500,000 will actually be towards projects. The $28,360 is money that's deducted from our state aid, and that's the School Development Authority assessment. So the state, if you've ever used funds from the school, like we have a ROD grant, that's School Development Authority, they have gone back and assessed districts for using that. So you get the aid, you use the money, and now they're taking it back a little by little every year by charging us $28,360.
Mr. I really forgot that I slaved over making this beautiful
Yes.
representation, and he just told you what all of those
Yeah.
sections are.
So
This is
I,
another way I like to do it.
yeah, that's another way, and Ms. Bozies does a great job with this. I can't take any credit for any of the layout, graphics, I do none of that. I'm just numbers, and occasionally she does let me write something. But for the most part, I'm just the numbers side. So if you do see a grammatical error, it goes over there.
Okay, except for one slide on my. Okay, so what's in the 25-26 budget? We are very excited to say we will be adding 2 staff members to OPS in this budget. One will be that, sometimes when people move in, you hope that they're going to move into the district across all of your grades, and sometimes all of a sudden, everyone moves into the same grade. So based on some spring registrants in 3rd grade and some people who have already registered for 4th grade next year, we will be adding an additional 4th grade classroom teacher, moving from 5 sections in 4th grade to 6 sections in 4th grade. We will also be hiring an additional educational support professional. That person may be a special education teacher, it may be an intervention teacher. We are working on our master schedule right now, and that will tell us exactly the type of employee that we need. We continue to put funds aside for our math professional development, as we've spoken about again and again. That is our area where growth needs to happen. We are maintaining our kindergarten aides, and this is an area where that's normal to us. That is not normal to other districts in Bergen County, Essex County, Passaic County. But it is something that we have seen the value of, and we are working to continue that in the budget. Our updated curriculum purchases, as you've heard numerous times, we implemented Amplified Desmos in grades 4 through 5 this year, with the plan to bring that down to grades K through 3 and have a consistent math primary resource from kindergarten through 5th grade starting next year. We will continue to support our STEM integration activities, primarily because, as I talk about again and again, our job as an elementary school is for students to leave this building engaged learners, not compliant learners, engaged learners, students who are passionate and excited. And our STEAM integration is one way that happens. If you are a 1st grade parent, you're going to get a very special gift this weekend, and it was truly a STEAM art Spanish project that is pretty exciting. We just need to get them out of the building and home in one piece. And this year we tried 2 different math platforms. We used Happy Numbers in grades K through 3 and Legends of Learning in the upper grades, but we will be moving based on our research this year and looking at our student growth to Happy Numbers in grades K through 5 next year. In terms of technology, we are at the point where we are updating some access points. As I shared, I'm really happy with the implementation of the BenQ boards this year, so we do have additional BenQ boards in next year's budget to support installing them in grades 4, 5, and 6. And we've been using GoGuardian in grades 5 through 6 this year, and we will be moving that down to 4th grade as well. Buildings and grounds, we learned something really important last year. Our custodial staff gives it 100%. Painting isn't necessarily their area of strength. And so we will be bringing in some painters this summer to do the hallways. They are the same painters that did our bathrooms this past year, so our hallways and some of our classrooms, so that our custodial staff can really focus on some other things. And we will, of course, continue to do some security upgrades. We continually look at our property to see where do we have any blind spots that need to be addressed? Are there other things that we need to add?
So capital projects for this coming up. So we're finally getting our Oradell HVAC unit. This is the project that's funded. This is 8 classrooms. This is the project that's funded. 40% of it is a regular operating district or ROD grant. We're finally able to get that work done this summer. But in addition to that, we're looking to replace rooftop units as they reach end of life. So the kindergarten rooftop unit would be first on that list. We have, as a district, applied to PSE&G's direct install program. So there's a possibility that we'll only pay 20% of the total project cost, and that balance could be interest-free over 60 months. The problem is PSE&G has been flooded. We are at the head of the line, but they have not released their funding yet. They haven't released anything, so I'm hoping, I've been contacting, there's only one contractor in the county that is responsible for this project. He's anxious to get this going also. He can't get anything other than, we hope by June we're going to be releasing numbers. So that's where we stand with that.
And as we shared previously, Mr. Iapelli was so on top of the direct install program that he actually called our architect about it and told him about it, where usually that happens in the opposite order. But we were the first ones to reach out to them.
So this year, the tax levy, as you can see, that is not a typo on the debt service. It's a $0. The district, for the first time in a long time, is debt-free. This is just general operating costs. The board and the finance committee did, I think, a great job developing this budget. This was not an easy budget. There were lots of dialogues, lots of communication, lots of questions, lots of, I need to get back to you because I don't always know those answers right away. But I think it's a sound budget. I think meets the needs of the children and with respect to the taxpayer. And I think that's also important. So what does that mean to the taxpayer? So right now, assessed values have gone up significantly, but that's everyone. It's not just one section of the town. They reassess the entire town or borough of Oradell. So right now, the average assessed value is $792,000. So if we look at the tax, it's about $146. That's about a little over 3% estimated. We don't know yet because it still needs to be included with the borough. And our tax, while it's separate, we don't know how to exactly come about that increase just because of that increase in assessed value. There's a factor that needs to be included that they don't really give us to make it easy in a presentation. So we're just going to look at average last year to average this year, and so we're looking at about $146.
So at this time, does the board have any questions for Mr. Iapelli or me?
Any questions? I have a question.
Sure.
State aid, how much did it go down this year? Do you know?
3%. So,
3% of a million?
yeah.
Okay, and what do we have to use that state aid for? Is it specifically designated for anything, or it just goes into our bottom line?
It just goes into our bottom line. They do not say, so the portion that's done for like the X amount of dollars for special education student is not for special education, it's just to support the bottom line. So that $1 million is not designated or earmarked for anything specifically.
You may not know this off the top of your head. I was going to actually email you when I had emailed you during the week questions, but in the superintendent's office, purchase services, what is that? Do you know off the top of your head? If you don't, it's fine.
Not right off the top of my
It's
head.
like 33,000 or something. Do you know what it is?
That's actually the board portion of the insurance, so board liability.
Purchase services?
Yeah, that would be there, because there's a board portion for environmental, there's a board portion.
I'm not sure that's what it is.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
That's
We
what
can
the-
look at it
Yeah, we
later.
can look at it.
Any other questions from the board? Mr. Walsh, you have a question?
It's not a question, but I'm just surprised that we got to 16,251,000. That's what the, that's a total budget that we're going
Right.
out for, right?
Right, that's the total budget. But the portion that's funded by the taxes is just the general portion, so none of the maintenance, none of the capital reserve. So that's why it's greater.
The tax levy is the 14,233,000.
Right?
The rest of it is state aid, and also it's partially that 60 million is money we're pulling out that we've already put aside for capital projects. We're just
Correct.
taking our money out of our own account. So,
Well, I can just go back in time, and I think when I started out, we were paying $8 million.
probably less,
So it was pretty good after 30-something years.
probably less.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of complaints. This is Oradell. But I think we're doing a good job with $16 million.
Also, I just want to highlight, you already spoke about it, but when Mr. Iapelli and I were talking about how to present the budget for the tax assessment, we really don't know yet, because the tax assessors gave us a number and they put everything in together, the high school, the town, like you can't pull out your factor. So really what we did to get this number is we took the average assessment from last year, the average assessment last year, and then we just took school tax last year and really upped it 3.19%, which is what
Correct.
we're going up. So we don't know how the town is going to do, but it really, I believe it should be around that. We should check
Should
the
be
numbers
around
when they
that.
come from
Yeah,
the
when they
town, but
come
that's
in,
how
we'll
we
check
got
it.
it. It's not based on, because it was kind of odd this year, the way
Because
we
of
got
that
it from the assessors.
significant, because the home values increased so
Right.
significantly. It's not like you compare one
Right.
year to the last year, like it might change by a couple of percent. This time around, it was, 23%.
Right.
And you can't just, because if the board presented it as 23%, that increase, we would actually show our taxes, because our tax rate would actually go down. We would actually be
Right.
showing a decrease, but that would not be true.
And just because your assessment goes up 23% doesn't mean your taxes go up 23%.
Correct, correct, because the rate has actually gone
Right.
down, and it would look like if we just did it on dollar to dollar, year over year, it would actually show a negative here, but that's not true.
Any questions from here? Mrs. Walker?
So people are claiming, or you hear people talk, our taxes have gone up so significantly over the past couple of years that it's because of the school taxes, and that doesn't seem to be the case with us in that we're only charging 2.1%, right?
Well, this year it's about 3.9, we think, but we have to remember, school tax also, there's the regional high
3.19.
school. 3.19.
Not 3.9.
Yeah, 3.19, but there's
Right,
also
one.
the regional high school, which we have no control. So when people talk about the school tax, I don't know if they're necessarily talking about OPS, or are they talking about OPS in the regional high school, because that's a large portion of this. That's a bigger portion than we are.
I think the problem is that often people don't realize that if they
Right.
don't have children in this,
Right.
outside the OPS, that it's OPS's fault, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Any other questions on this side?
Good job, Mr. Iapelli.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to thank the Finance Committee. Mr. Darian, the chair, is not here. Mr. Del Greco and Mr. Walsh put in a lot of hours, and thank you to Mr. Iapelli, because
Thank
it
you.
was a great job, and next year, again, we're going to ask for our Excel spreadsheets,
It's okay.
Which we
Now I know
like.
what to expect.
but, yeah.
It's all right.
Thank you. It
You're
was
welcome.
a
Mrs. Nichols,
very
I have
good
a-
process. Yeah.
I'm so
Mr.
sorry,
Allen.
I do have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do we foresee any issues with the Airedales coming in on time?
As of right now, no.
No.
We are slated, they're supposed to be here right around when school ends. So
Okay.
we're not even going to, the units are supposed to be here by school this year. Yeah, we are ahead of the place, ahead of the game,
Okay.
because we already had our pre-construction meeting.
Great.
We are now just waiting for school to end and to get going.
I appreciate your due diligence on
Yeah.
not only the paperwork, but following through with all that stuff. So thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Iapelli.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to minutes, we have review of April 9th. Any questions or comments, please email Mr. Iapelli. And we have approval of the March 12th and March 26th minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Del Greco. Any questions? Call the question?
On the roll, Mr. Del Greco.
Yes.
Mrs. Downey.
Yes.
Mr. Darian is not here. Mrs. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Nutland.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mrs. Norian.
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Committee reports. Mrs. Norian, would you take A, administrative items?
Certainly. We have a proclamation. Do you want me to read the whole
Sure,
proclamation?
go ahead.
Okay. Proclamation declaring May 5th through the 9th, 2025 as Teacher Appreciation Week. Proclamation declaring May 5th through 9th, 2025 as Teacher Appreciation Week at Oradell Public School. Whereas teachers are our nation's heroes who motivate and inspire young minds and enable students to achieve extraordinary things. And whereas teachers keep American democracy alive by laying the foundation for good citizenship and mold future citizens through guidance and education. And whereas teachers fill many roles as listeners, explorers, role models, motivators, and mentors, and open students' minds to ideas, knowledge, and dreams. And whereas teachers continue to influence us long after our school days are over. And whereas New Jersey, and in particular Oradell, boasts some of the best teachers in the country who care about each student's education and upbringing, teaching them skills that will help them make our communities better. And whereas teachers spend countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling and coaching students, and performing community service, and now therefore be it resolved that the Oradell Public School proclaims May 5th through the 9th, 2025 to be Teacher Appreciation Week, and be it further resolved that the Oradell Board of Education recognizes and commends all of Oradell's teachers and educators with appreciation for their contributions to the lives of our students. And be it further resolved that the Oradell Board of Education strongly encourages all members of our community to join with it in personally expressing appreciation to our teachers for their dedication and devotion to their work. And I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
And whereas I will second it.
Any questions or comments? Call the question?
On the roll, Mr. Del Greco.
Yes.
Mr. Darian absent. Mrs. Downey.
Yes.
Mrs. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Nutland.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mrs. Norian.
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Buildings and grounds, Mr. Del Greco?
Yes, I'd like to bring up B1 use of facilities. The project graduation, Oradell Rec, the art show, and softball practices. Also, if we need one, we should probably schedule a buildings and grounds meeting soon, I guess, with all the summer projects and everything else coming on. And now we're out of budget, hopefully, so.
I'll second.
the motion.
Second by Mrs. Norian.
Third.
Beat you, sorry.
That's all right.
Second by Mrs. Norian. Any questions? Call the question.
On the roll, Mr. Del Greco.
Yes.
Mr. Darian is absent. Mrs. Downey.
Yes.
Mrs. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Nutland.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker. Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mrs. Norian.
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes, curriculum, Mrs. Norian?
Yes, I believe we need to set up a meeting as well. Hopefully, we'll do that in the near future. But in the interim, I'd like to present approval of field trips, C1.
I'll second it.
Sorry, Mr. Walsh beat you with the second. Any questions on curriculum? Call the question.
On the roll, Mr. Del Greco.
Yes.
Mrs. Downey.
Yes.
Mrs. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Nutland.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker. Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mrs. Norian.
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Finance, Mr. Darian is not here. Mr. Del Greco, would you take finance?
Certainly. I'd like to present D1 all the way through, let's see here, D13.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Walsh. Any questions?
Quick, I have a
Mr.
question.
Del Greco?
Sorry. The world language, the grant, I guess we applied for and received the grant. Is that what D6 is?
Yeah.
Okay, that actually is a PTA grant.
Okay.
It's a revision of a previous item where the vendor we were supposed to use, which was an Irish step dancing troupe, they fell through. So we reached out to a different one, so it's just revising that item.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Call the question.
On the roll, Mr. Del Greco.
Yes.
Mrs. Downey.
Yes.
Mrs. Norian. Mrs. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Nutland.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mrs. Norian.
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Delegate report. Any report, Mr. Walsh?
Nothing to report.
All right. Do we know when the next delegate meeting is? Is there one? Okay. Personnel, Mrs. Walker.
Thank you. We haven't had a meeting in the past 2 weeks, but I would like to present F1.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Walsh. Any questions? Call the question.
On the roll, Mr. Del Greco.
Yes.
Mrs. Downey.
Yes.
Mrs. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Nutland.
Abstain.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mrs. Norian.
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Abstain. Policy, Mr. Nutland.
Yes, I'd like to present G1.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Walsh. Any questions? Call the question.
On the roll, Mr. Del Greco.
Yes.
Mrs. Downey.
Yes.
Mrs. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Nutland.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mrs. Norian.
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Public relations, Mrs. Downey.
We probably need a meeting.
Our website's up.
The website's up. And do you want to talk about your coffee?
Yeah. Sure.
So President Nichols, Mrs. Hawley, and I hosted a parent coffee, I think it was last Wednesday. We had about 24 people sign up. We had about 14 people, I think, in attendance. And I thought it was a really productive conversation. And really the goal of it was to say, these are all the topics you want to talk about, and we can't talk about them all in one coffee, especially because we need to have the right personnel at them. So we're not necessarily going to have President Nichols at a coffee about report cards, but it's a good thing to have her at a coffee about safety and security. So we talked about moving them forward, and we had some really good feedback from parents. One that was really helpful for me was, as we have not just launched the website, we've also launched an app. And that app has push notifications. And the parents suggested putting together kind of a one-page sheet that says, these are the types of things that are going to get pushed through the app. These are the types of things that you're going to get a text about. Because we are in information overload, and we need some ways to have some clear structures. You don't really need a text about Spirit Day, but I don't mind pushing it through the app. So those are things that we're going to start working on, putting a sheet together. We also are working on a chain of command document that will also go on the website.
How many parents came?
14.
2 left early, because couldn't take it, but, but we were here, we started at 7 and we ended around 10:15.
Wow.
So it was a good discussion, I thought. They were very thoughtful questions, and the parents were very interested, I thought, so I thought it went really well. Before we open up to anything else for public relations? Mr. Del Greco?
Yeah, I just wanted to commend everybody on the work on the website and the app. You know, as a technologist, it's clean, it's great, it's easy.
Yeah.
There's information's used, and thank you for all the push notifications, the emails, the phone calls to just verify that, you know, there's, I think, 5 different methods that you used. But it was funny sitting on a couch and my phone, all the phones ringing at the same time. But thank you for that, because in this day and age with what's going on, it's good to ensure that communications is working.
And one of the things that I am planning to do this spring is doing a website survey. Sometimes when people come to me and say something like, if you put something on the website about how and when you're going to communicate, that would be a clear, transparent way to state expectations. So people aren't saying you didn't do, they kind of know this is how we're going to do it. So one of the things that I will be reaching out to all parents and staff in the community this spring and saying, what's missing? What's difficult? So for example, a staff member came to me, and when they were opening up Gmail, it was not opening up in a separate window, so it was replacing the website. Until you use the website and go through that, you don't realize that's an issue. So we will be providing all stakeholders an opportunity to give us some feedback on how to make it better over the summer.
Okay, so before moving to open to the public, I just want to go back to delegate report, because Ms. Bozios just looked up the, I think it's May 10th. Is it in
15th.
person, or is it?
It's in person, I think.
It's in person?
May 15th.
Where is it, do we know?
It's where it usually is, down
Trenton.
Is it down there?
No, it's not Trenton, it's at that community college
In
down.
Mercer County.
Is that this weekend, this Saturday?
There was an email I sent.
Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe, Mr. Iapelli, could you reach out to Mr. Walsh and Mrs. Norian to see if anyone's going to attend? But you don't have to, but he'll just call with the details, and then you guys can decide what you want to do.
You're closer down there.
At this time, we'll open to the public.
Community college. I'm sorry.
Happy to have you back. Not seeing any, we'll move to old or new business. Any old or new business? Mrs. Walker?
I just wanted to say we had a lovely, well, I think we did, breakfast this morning, bagel breakfast for all of our wonderful teachers. I see some heads shaking. It was so nice. Everybody appreciated it, and they really enjoyed themselves. And I have to thank Miss Bozios.
Yeah.
She really had the table set up. It made my life very easy. And then cleaning up, I was scooted out very quickly. So she was very, very organized, and the custodians were great. So it was a great feeling, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, because we were very proud to have you here. Thank you.
And Mr. Del Greco came too, right? You were there too?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And he was,
And so I have to ask, were the bagels sliced this year? Were the bagels sliced?
yes.
Okay, because last year, they were not sliced, and I'm the one who orders them, and I put it in, I haven't received. So this year I went, and I wouldn't say I yelled at them, but I'm like, if they're not sliced, we're not taking them. So I was worried they weren't going to be sliced. I'm like, we don't have time.
And when I got there, 7 o'clock,
Yeah, they're good.
we go to the
was a
hot
mistake last year.
bagels in
They're the best.
River Edge. Very good.
All right, good. Thank you for all your help, too, because without you, it wouldn't happen. Any other old or new business? I was going to ask about our HVAC units, but you put that in the budget report, so do we have any idea when we're going to hear back? They're not
So
saying
direct
anything.
install, he's hoping June. I mean, he's as anxious as we are.
There's only one contractor who's going to do this for the whole
That's the
state?
response. They coordinate it,
Oh, county.
but everything goes through them.
Okay. If not seeing any other old new business, we do need to go back into our closed session because we're not done. So if someone would make a motion.
I'll second. That's quick.
Who was it? Who was it? Who was it?
Okay, so who made the motion? Mrs. Norian? Did anyone second it?
Miss-
Mr. Nutland? Roll call?
On the roll, Mr. Del Greco,
Yes.
Mrs. Downey,
Yes.
Mrs. Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Nutland,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker, Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mrs. Norian,
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. No action will be taken when we're coming out, so we don't know how long we'll be in there, but there'll be no action taken. Thank you for coming.